Life does not always shake the loudest people first. Sometimes, it shakes the quiet ones. The ones who never argue. The ones who never complain. The ones who believe that if they stay sincere, the world will stay fair. But life is not a classroom. There are no teachers to correct misunderstandings. No one to defend you when your voice trembles. And sometimes, the very quality that once protected you becomes the reason you are tested. This is the story of Pallavi, a girl who was praised for her silence, until silence cost her something, and how the day that shook her began to shape her. There was a girl named Pallavi. She was sincere, quiet, gentle. In school, she never argued. If she had a problem, she told the teacher softly, and the teacher solved it. When other students were scolded, Pallavi stood silently as the example. Be like Pallavi, they would say. She thought silence was strength. She thought obedience was safety. After finishing school, she joined a dress company. Rows of sewing machines, threads hanging in the air, needles moving quickly. Her job was simple: stitch. She liked watching plain cloth turn into something beautiful. But slowly, something changed. Pallavi, can you finish mine too? She nodded. Pallavi, I'm running late. Can you take this piece? She nodded again. When someone placed extra cloth near her machine, she stitched it. She knew they were using her, but she did not know how to say no. Her hands worked. Her voice stayed quiet. One afternoon, a delivery was delayed. The boss walked out, angry. Who handled this batch? Before Pallavi could think, someone said, Sir. Pallavi was responsible. Her heart skipped. Her throat tightened. The boss raised his voice. For you, the delivery failed. The machines slowed. People looked at her, not shouting, not defending, just looking, with doubt. The truth was in her mind, clear. But silence had become her habit. She said nothing. Days later, material went missing. She had seen who took it. She had seen it clearly. But she had said nothing then. And now, someone whispered her name. This time, the boss did not shout. He simply said, You can leave. Just like that. No explanation. No discussion. Just dismissal. Pallavi walked behind the building. She sat on the cement floor and cried, not only because she lost the job, but because she realized her silence had protected her once. Now it had cost her. An older woman from the factory came outside. She had seen everything. She sat beside Pallavi. You were wronged, she said gently. Then why did this happen to me? Pallavi asked. The woman looked at her hands. Gold is heated before it becomes pure. Clay is pressed before it becomes pottery. Muscle is stretched before it grows. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Pallavi listened quietly. In school, teachers solved your problems, the woman continued. But life does not come with teachers. If you cannot speak when something is wrong, people will speak for you. And sometimes, they will not speak the truth. Go home. Don't shrink. Learn from this. That night, Pallavi opened her diary. She wrote, I know stitching. When I stitch, I feel calm. When I create, I feel strong. I may not know how to argue, but I can build." There was a half-finished dress in her bag. She took it out and began stitching. Slowly, carefully, no rush, no pressure. When she finished, it was morning. Sunlight fell across the fabric. The dress looked beautiful. For the first time in weeks, her hands were steady. An idea came quietly. She lived on the ground floor of her building. She moved her bed to one side, cleared half the room, placed the dress on a mannequin, hung a few more stitched pieces beside it. No grand opening, no big board, just a small note near the door. Stitching available. The first day, 2 women came. The second week, more. They liked her neat work. They liked her calm attention. She began teaching 2 neighborhood girls stitching. Slowly, the room became a small store. Not loud, not glamorous, but steady. One afternoon, someone stopped at her doorway. Pallavi was adjusting the collar of a newly stitched dress. She looked up. It was her former boss. For a brief second, old memories flickered. The shouting, the trembling, but they did not stay. She met his eyes calmly. He looked around the small shop. The dresses were arranged neatly. The stitching was precise. He picked up one piece and examined the seam. He nodded slightly. "Good work," he said quietly. There was no tension in his voice, just recognition. Pallavi smiled. Not proudly, not nervously, just naturally. "Thank you," she replied. He gave a small smile and stepped outside. Pallavi turned back to her customer. "Shall we adjust the sleeve a little?" she asked gently. Her voice was steady. Her hands were steady. And that steadiness, that was enough. There are many people like Pallavi. They are not weak. They are simply unused to conflict. They grew up believing that goodness would be enough. And sometimes it is. But the real world does not always reward silence. It tests it. This story is not asking you to become aggressive. It is asking you something quieter. Are you disappearing to keep peace? Are you staying silent when your truth matters? Pallavi did not become loud. She did not become bitter. She did not seek revenge. She became steady. And steadiness is powerful. Life removed her from a place where she was shrinking, not to embarrass her, but to expand her. Being shaken feels unfair. It feels humiliating. It feels like loss. But sometimes the shaking loosens what was holding you small. If you are in a season where you feel blamed, misunderstood, or unseen, do not rush to prove yourself. Build yourself. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it simply stops trembling. And when your hands become steady again, you will realize you were never being broken. You were being shaped.